Hello everyone. Hope I'm audible. Okay, thank you for joining the session today. So today we are going to discuss about something very important, and I think we have received a lot of requests for taking a session on this Ansible best practices, and I have collected some information, and also I referred the official documentation, and remaining are from my experience. So in this session, we will discuss about these best practices, how to keep the variables, how to write the playbook properly, and yeah, all those things. So if you are very new to the Ansible, please refer to the YouTube playlist where we have a lot of videos for learning Ansible from scratch. So this is it was a kind of a 30 days 30 days of Ansible challenge where we cover most of the beginner level topics for Ansible. So refer the YouTube playlist or GitHub repository. I'll give you the details inside the video description. Okay, so we have this repository. I will share the details in the video description, and also you can see the details in the YouTube channel. So I think we don't need to explain a lot of details. So let me start. So today's agenda is very simple. We will learn how to, not how to actually, what are the best practices you need to follow for organizing the playbooks, organizing the inventory, variable naming, then how to optimize your playbook execution, and some other best practices. And of course, we will have the discussion or Q&A session. Please ask if you have any question in the chat window. We will make sure to answer. I will answer most whatever possible items. So okay, let me start. Okay. One of the important things, like I do not have any demo arrangement for this session. We will go through the practical, we will go through the theory only. If you have any questions or something like you don't understand, please ask in the chat window. I will try my best to explain how this is working. So first thing, Ansible, we all know, we always say, okay, Ansible is simple, Ansible is powerful, all those things. Yes, Ansible is simple. So make it very simple. Use only the features you needed in your playbook. Do not go for the advanced features and okay, you feel like you configure a lot of complex modules and all. No, if there is a module, use it. If no modules, okay, you can use the raw commands. Then write your playbook as human readable. Means do not mix a lot of items inside your playbook. Make sure if your colleague or if you share with another guy, he should be able to understand, okay, what is this thing and how it's working, what are the tasks it's doing actually. So don't make a very complex one. So make it a human readable, simple as that. Then as I already told, use your modules, check for your module, check the modules, community modules, or whatever available in the stream. And if not available, you use the raw command, shell module, or command modules. I will go through the samples with screenshot or something like that, make it more clear. Okay, the first thing, I found a lot of people skip their project or the Ansible automation, playbooks, variables, everything in local file system, or some I found it's using in Ansible Tower locally. Yeah, all those are not strictly not recommended. Try to use version control system like a Git or GitHub or your local GitLab repository or your Bitbucket, whatever it is. So keep your playbooks, configurations, variables, roles, collections, whatever the dependencies are inside your repository. So it will enable, it will give the opportunity for others to contribute your Ansible playbook content, whatever it is. Let's say if you have already developed a playbook for the Linux system patching, maybe you keep in your team repository, so the other person can have a look and he can contribute by fixing the bugs or maybe adding some features. So just consider this Ansible playbook content as a software code. So same like how we work the open source software thing. Then you have less worry on the backup old version of playbooks, because the version control system always have the versioning. So something you made mistake, something you change, it's not working, no need to worry because you have the old version to go back. Okay. Then it will also make auditing possible, and always practice to create project specific repositories. Something like on the screenshot you can see different repositories for different projects. Maybe it's a VMware automation, then maybe Windows automation, some Linux patching. So you can keep your content inside specifically, like you don't need to keep a lot of things, but instead you can keep your specific Ansible playbook and its collection, roles, modules, etc. Okay. Next thing is playbook. Some of the playbook items, like make sure playbooks are readable. Of course, we know it's using YAML. It will be readable. Human readable is fine, but use comments inside your playbooks. It will be useful for you and others, because maybe you added one task which is not really I feel like, okay, I saw some playbook and I don't understand what is this task is for. So always use the comments and make sure this playbook is readable for anyone else. I mean, for your team or your organization, like that. Then you can always keep a style guide where you can mention, okay, how to use the white spaces. So always use extra white spaces, extra lines between, all those things. And maybe I can show something like here. So this is the kind of you can keep this style guide. It's not like a strict one, but you can always keep it like, okay, make sure you have an extra line between the tasks. Then always give a 2-space indentation or 4-space indentation, or all those things. And always ask the colleagues, always keep a naming system for your task. Instead of directly use a yam, I keep, okay, name, install HTTPD and firewall packages, then enable and start firewall. So when you execute the playbook, you will see the output, okay, the name of the task will be there. Instead of the service module, it will show, okay, enable and start firewall services. So it will be very useful when you execute, and also it will be useful for others or your colleagues when they do the further development, or when they reuse the playbook. Then we can use the proper tags. This is another best practice. Always use the tags, so you can execute some specific tasks based on the tagging you have already included inside the playbook. Then main playbooks, calling roles or sub playbooks means you can create small playbooks, and in the main playbook you can use you can call these playbooks inside like that. I will explain a sample later. Then you have to use the explicit declarations, like if there might be some module defaults, like a state equal to enable or disable, or override or force equal to by default disable. But if this is something critical, always make sure explicitly you declare, okay, state equal to true or false, like that. So it will be useful for you later. Okay, what was your intention to put that task? So always make sure you have an explicit declaration inside. Then use your handlers, and again, avoid shell and command modules as much as possible. Try to find the modules and use it. So this one we already explained. So this is another important thing. Always use the native YAML format for the playbook. I found many are using the single line items like this. So you can use this, is fine, it will work, no issue. But yeah, by seeing you will know, okay, it's very difficult to understand what is the task. I mean, I can see the task is copy, but I need to find, okay, what is the source, what is the destination, what is all those things. So sorry, there is a typo. Sorry for that. It should be SRC. But always try to use a native YAML format for the playbook, so it will be more readable. It will be easy to understand, okay, what I'm doing and what is the source file, destination file, ownership, all those things. So follow this native YAML format for your playbooks, and yeah, also all those role inside. The next important thing is hard coding. This is very common. We found we hard code every details inside your playbook. Let's say, okay, I need to install this web package. Now it's on the web server. I put, okay, host web server. Then I put installing web server, and the package is HTTPD. What if I need to install this? I need to use this same playbook for some different servers, maybe web dev or development server. So I need to edit the playbook and change this value, and I have to run it again. What if I need to use the same playbook for the Nginx, installing Nginx? It will not work because you hard coded the package name inside. So try to avoid hard coding, and you can always use the variables and pass the variables when you call the playbook. So this is an example where you can call this instead of hard coding the host, I put, okay, nodes. So I didn't declare the nodes anywhere. So the nodes is the actual host I have to give, like a web servers, node 1, node 2, like that. Then I am calling installing web. Then in the YAML module, instead of hard coding the HTTPD, I put web package. So here I can install Nginx or web or any package actually. So sorry. So when I call the Ansible playbook from Ansible command line or from the tower, always you can pass this information. So here I put extra vars, then I am giving the information like a nodes equal to web servers, and I also give web package equal to HTTPD. So it will be replaced here. Better, right? So you don't need to change the playbook every time. Others also can use the same playbook without changing the playbook. You can just give them, okay, tell them, okay, you just need to pass this extra variable when they execute the playbook. Okay, try to avoid hard coding. Then I found, okay, of course I agree, most of the time the Ansible will be on the remote node. Maybe you don't have a real GUI there. Still you can use the editors for the remote editing. If you have a question on that one, we can arrange a session later for how to do the remote editing using VS Code. There is a feature which you can use for remote editing. Maybe your server is in a different data center or remote, and you don't have a GUI there. Still, you can use VS Code. You can explain there in another session. Always use the editor. Let's say you have a GUI and your Ansible development machine got GUI. Always try to use a proper editor with plugins, or you call additional plugins, or whatever the items you call on the editor. For VS Code, you have a lot of editors, and you can use that for Ansible development. Then we have other editors like Atom, Sublime. Then also you can use the normal text editor Vim with the plugins, which will support Ansible. Why I suggest to use editor? Because, okay, if you check here, I am developing a playbook. Then in the problems or in the console, I can see there are a lot of syntax errors. This plugin automatically suggests me, okay, there are 3 errors here. Okay, and also I can what is error? It says, okay, bad indentation of a mapping entry YAML 1414. So I go to the 14. I can see, yes, there is a indentation, wrong indentation. The debug should be here, not here. And also it will, because of that, it will show another one, incomplete explicit mapping pair, because yeah, it's supposed to be here. Okay, so this will help you a lot, because YAML is very sensitive. A single extra space or extra indentation will break your code. So you edit this, when you run, it will throw error. Instead of that, you can see the error and issues when you edit itself. It's very good actually. So try to use a proper editor with plugins, so it will help you a lot while developing your playbook. Then another important thing is block, because Sorry, I think there's a question. Will this slide will be available later? Sure, I will share these slides at the end of this session. You can check in the video description. I will share, sure. No harm. Okay, why we recommend block? Because we have several cases. Let's say you are writing this playbook using a condition like installing something like HTTP wrong. There is no such package called HTTP wrong. Of course, this will throw error. Then you have to handle the error like it will throw error and it will stop the playbook. Then if you want to handle that error and error handling, you have to use like ignore error. Then you have to handle, okay, what was happened. Then you have to write your own task for handling this error and proceed with the playbook. Yeah, all those things. If you use block, it's actually you can save a lot of lines of code inside your playbook. So here, if you check, okay, ignore the first task. It's just printing the message. Second task, I'm trying to install a wrong package, which does not exist. Of course, it will fail, and what will happen? Ansible will use the rescue part of the block, where I have another task to install Nginx. Maybe, yeah, it can be anything. It can be you try to initialize on database, maybe it's not there, then you can use the rescue part here. So Ansible will take care of the error handling already. You don't need to check the error message, or you don't need to do the ignore error. No, nothing to do, because Ansible will take care. And of course, you can have the always part of the block for the standard task for that package. Okay, try to use the block, because I found some already written a lot of maybe some 100 of code for handling this error, but most of them can be do by simple block rescue always setup. Okay, so this is the roles and subtasks I was talking about earlier. Instead of you write a lot of things in a same playbook or single playbook, hundreds of lines, then try to make simple roles and subtasks when you do this. Because maybe this is your main playbook. We are installing some server on node 1. Then I'm using a role called guy.git, and the next role is my next role, something. That's it. This is the main playbook, and by seeing the main playbook itself, I will know, okay, this is for installing a Git server, and I have another role. That's it. I don't need to go through the task list to understand what kind of playbook is this. So make sure your main playbook is very simple and anyone can understand without reading the full playbook. Okay. And another example is here. So you are using a same role, like include role. I am calling the same role. You can see here Linux patching. I'm calling the same role, but if you check, I have an additional option like I mentioned, okay, same role. I call a specific task file. So if you check here, I'm calling the same role, but inside I have multiple subtasks or sub playbooks, and I am calling not playbook, actually it's a task file. So I am calling that. So here for Linux patching, I am calling the same role, and I am telling, okay, execute Linux patch pre-task.yaml. Good. So it won't go to the main.yaml in the role. Next, I am calling, okay, patching task, again the same role. I didn't tell which task. Of course, it will execute the main.yaml. Again, I'm calling the same role, but this time I am telling Ansible to execute the task from Linux patching post task.yaml. So pre-task, patching, and post. So the playbook is very simple. You can see. So I have one role, but still I managed to do all the pre-task, post task checking, validations, everything using the same. But I already split this task into multiple task file. So try to split your playbook or task, then it will be easy for you to do this debugging, error handling like that. Okay, let me check the questions. Is the Ansible open source project which have end-to-end network automation for on-prem as well as cloud infra? I'm not sure about that. There might be. You can see a lot of free resources around in GitHub and in other location. You can refer that. I do not have any information. Maybe I will check and share with you later. How to distribute playbook across multiple playbook. Sorry, the question is not clear. How to distribute playbook across multiple playbook. I think you can refer this. We have this same role you call multiple playbook, or you want to see anything else? Maybe I'll show. Is there any way to call multiple playbook from one central playbook? Yes, you can. You have two options. One is include play and include task. So you can use either of one. Task means it should have only task file, nothing else. No play, like no host, something like that. If you have a playbook, you can call another playbook using the include play. Yes. What is Linux patching second task? Linux patching second task is actual patching. So it's just, I can share this maybe later. I will share. Okay, maybe if you check here. Ansible. Okay. You can refer this repository. Maybe I can copy paste in the chat. This is open, public. So this repository contains this Linux management task. So you can refer that anytime. Sorry, I put the wrong one. So Linux service patching, you can go and check everything here. This is a screenshot from this same repository. Okay. So it's calling from site.yaml. So site.yaml, I have few files. So you can see I'm calling one by one. So I call include role. I can also use include task. Yeah, like that. Okay. Now we will proceed. The next one is templating. So this is another important practice you have to follow for your complex configurations or some reporting kind of thing. You have options like copy module. Of course, copy will be same content. Then you have another option called line in file or block in file. Both are good for a small replacement, like you want to change some specific line or some content, it's good. And if you want to change 2 to 3 lines or maybe 10 lines, it's still okay, but it's not like handy to do a lot of configurations. Like let's say you have to change the configuration of your Apache or Nginx or something like that, then it's not really helpful. So use the template module. You can see this is a block in file you have to use. You don't have much control. And for the template, you can see this is my template. And this is my etc motd target. Then this is my motd.j2. This is the content. If you check, you can see I'm using some variables and I'm replacing this content on the target machine. Okay, this templating is very, very useful one when you want to execute something like, let's say I want to change the Nginx configuration for a new web server. So you can put everything in a template and you can just put some variable to replace with, and the target file will be replaced with proper content using the templating. So please note sure the module is template, not copy. So try to use a template module for complex configuration. Also, you can use the templating for a lot of purpose, like generating the report, templating, some emailing. Yeah, all those are use cases. Okay. Then important one is organizing the files and directory. This is another best practice you have to follow. We found a lot of users keep the file playbooks, variables, everything in the maybe their home directory or maybe desktop or downloads folder. Try to create the project directories. So project directory is nothing. It's just your files, playbooks, variables, modules, libraries, whatever the items you need for your playbook to execute. Whatever the dependencies you try to include inside, and of course you connect to the version control system like a Git or GitLab or Bitbucket. Yeah. So this is a sample directory structure. If you check here, we have inventories. So if you have inventories, multiple inventories. If you have a static file with some 100 servers, still okay, but it's always recommend to split the inventory for production and staging or dev, whatever your choice. So inside the production, I mean, it's very easy for you. Like you want to use the same playbook for production and staging, still you can manage the inventory. So while running the playbook, you can call, okay, I want to execute this playbook for inventory/production. So this will take only that host, like that. Okay, you already know how to use the variable for using the host instead of hard coding everything inside. Okay, then create library folder if you have some custom modules or some specific modules you need for this specific project or playbook. Then other directories like module utils, filter plugins. Then the important one is site.yaml. This is the one I was talking about. So let's say you have some big items to do. Let's say you have web servers, then you have to install database servers. Instead of putting everything inside one, I put site.yaml, and we can call this as a playbook from site.yaml. So this is the main playbook, and these are the sub playbook. There is no restriction on the name. Site.yaml is a normal standard way. You can use my playbook.com.yaml or VMware automation.yaml. Can use anything. This is just standard naming convention. And also try to keep your roles inside a specific directory. It can be roles or my role, something like that. And whatever role you needed for the specific project, keep it inside. Don't refer the playbook from outside. Otherwise, you have to use the proper requirement.yaml and make sure that your roles will be installed here when you are reusing another machine on another Ansible engine. Okay, this is a standard pattern. There may be changes based on your organization policies. Maybe you have single repos, single inventory. Yeah, up to you. Then another important thing is like keep your inventories or remote host information organized. If possible, group your host based on your functionality, like web servers, database servers, application servers, maybe firewall devices, network devices, like that. And if possible, use the dynamic inventory scripts or dynamic inventory feature wherever possible, like cloud containers. Let's say you have a VMware cluster, or you have an AWS setup, or you have a GCP project, and you don't know what are the VMs now running, because the VMs will be created, deleted, maybe renaming, all those will happen. So use the dynamic inventory, which will automatically detect or collect the host information or remote host information from the GCP or VMware or AWS, and Ansible will take care of that. It will be very easy. So you can avoid a lot of human errors. It will be more easy. No need to do, every time you have a new VM, you don't need the inventory and do it. So dynamic inventory will take care of that. Then always keep your sensitive information in separate host vars or group vars. Like let's say you have some credential or some specific API key or key for some servers or some devices. Separate the sensitive information in a file and vault it. You can use Ansible Vault to encrypt this, and do not keep it in the same normal non-sensitive variable file. If you check here, we have a few grouping. This is very simple one, very basic one. We have web servers you put in a group, database in another group, then some other servers like DBA, DBB, DBC, DBF, and yeah, it's a kind of a pattern in different groups. I think there are some questions. Maybe I check questions. Can we run multiple playbooks in parallel way using any CI tool? You can use the Ansible Tower or Ansible AWX, or you can use the Ansible runner for that. There is no direct way. You have to use either this tool or maybe from Jenkins or something like that. Can we control the sequence of execution on the server? Like I have 10 servers. First, I have to complete all the tasks of 9 servers, and then yes, it's possible. I will show that very soon. Not the exact way you are asking, but yeah, for the Dinesh Babu, yes, we will see that very soon. Ansible Tower best practices, not in this session. Maybe we will arrange another session soon. Thank you for that suggestion. Then, yeah, you can use strategies. Thank you, Hemant. Can you manage inventory in Excel format? Not pure Excel format. CSV is possible, but not really recommended. You can use in in YAML format or JSON format, or in the normal INI format, the one you can see on the screen. Okay. Discuss third-party tools. Thanks. Yes, we can integrate with the third-party tools like what is the name? Yeah, whatever the third-party authentication tools, yes, you can use it. It will work. Okay. I think I already mentioned. Again, I'm highlighting this one. Separate your production, staging, and development inventories, because as I told, you have development server, you have staging server. You don't want to, by accidentally, you don't want to execute something wrong on your production or staging server. So always, instead of hard coding everything inside, you can pass this inventory information when you execute the playbook. So keep the production host separately, and production group variables, production host variables, everything separately. Then yeah, something like structure like this. So we have a main inventory directory, then production, we have host file, then we have group variables, host variables, then staging. Yeah, almost same. And while execute the playbook, you can call, okay, I have to run this playbook for the production inventory. But again, inside the playbook, you still mention, okay, I need to execute this on the database servers or DB servers or web servers. Then this is very important. This one I found a lot of mistakes, a lot of people doing this. Make your host name human readable, because you have an option, a beautiful option called Ansible underscore host in the in Ansible. So this is very useful. For example, this is your current inventory. You have IP address, then you have some long names. It's not easy to remember this IP address. That's why we have a DNS system. Some people do like a etc/host. You can add the entry, or you can add entry in the DNS. It's good. But Ansible, we have an option called Ansible underscore host. So how you can do? So I put, okay, my server is server 01. Then I mentioned Ansible underscore host equal to the IP. So this is possible in Ansible. So it will be very easy. So this host name will be there on your end. When you execute the playbook, it will show there. So you will know, okay, this is executing on my database server 1 or my DB production 2. You will know that while executing. Instead of, it will show the long name or the IP address. So try to use Ansible host and make your inventory human readable. Okay, then the important one is trusted access to remote host, like username, password, or what kind of access you are planning. I found a lot of still using root user for remote login, or administrator login for the Windows. Strictly not recommended. Try to create a dedicated account for Ansible. Okay, use proper credential with the best security. Like instead of username, password, you can use SSH keys for the Linux host. This is strictly recommended. So you can use this, implement this SSH key based X, which will be very easy and more safe and secure. Do not use a password based. It's not like a do not use, but try to avoid using the password based authentication unless you have some reason or organization policy or restriction to use the SSH key based access. Then again, create dedicated account for Ansible with enough privilege, because we know if you want to do something from Ansible, like installing package or editing some file, you need a sudo access, of course. These are a few examples. Let's say if you are mentioning, if you are using a special account, like in my case, I'm using a DevOps account for the remote host. So I have this DevOps account created on all the managed nodes or remote hosts with SSH key enabled. So I can mention this in my defaults. This is a ansible.cfg file. Let's say I have some different username and SSH key for other machines. I can use this. So I can inside my web server, inside my inventory, I will tell, okay, for the web 101, my connection method is SSH, but my Ansible user is something else, DevOps or Ansible. This is still possible. Again, you have another option in Playbook. Let's say while running the Playbook, again, you can tell, okay, my remote user is DevOps or Ansible or sysadmin, something like that. So try to use this, and either you can put everything in. If all hosts are using the same account, you can put it in the ansible.cfg. Otherwise, you can configure based on your host level or the playbook level. Still possible. Okay, this is very important because maybe you are developing the playbook. You just give some simple names like A equal to something, then web port equal to 80. I don't know what is this web port. Is it for Nginx or it's for Tomcat? It's for Apache? I don't know. So this is not really recommended. Try to use a meaningful name for your variables. Okay, and also make sure no duplicates or unwanted overwriting. Maybe use this like myvar. Again, you use another myvar somewhere, and your playbook is behaving in something weird way. So don't use that. Try to give a meaningful name. Like, okay, myvar I use, okay, user underscore location home down. So this is more meaningful, and I will know, okay, this is for user location. And here, instead of the web port, I use httpd underscore web underscore port. So you can extend the name like that. And when someone read the playbook, or maybe you are developing or you are adding some feature on the same playbook after 2 months, then you will know, okay, this variable is using for some specific purpose. You already know. You don't need to you don't need to refer back to your documentation or nothing. So try to use a proper or meaningful naming for your variables, and keep your variables at appropriate locations, because you can give or keep Ansible variable at more than 20 locations. It can be your inventory variable, it can be your host variable, group variables, playbook, variable files, while passing the extra variables, many places. So learn about Ansible variable precedence and try to keep it in the correct location, otherwise it will be override. Okay, that's about variable. And we have one more item for the variable. As we discussed earlier about the inventory, try to keep separate variable information for your production, staging, and dev, because maybe for production you have some specific API keys or some specific variable files or variable information. So try to keep these in the same way as you use for the inventory. So separate the production, staging, and development variables. Because here, if you check, this is very sample one. I have a production and I have a staging environment, and I have a production web vars and DB webber. So in the staging or development, I have some information I have to specific for my staging environment. How to call this? You can call it many ways, but this is one example. So this is my playbook. I'm doing something, maybe okay, sorry for the typo. There is something I have to be in the next line. That's my mistake. So this is a server environment. I put in Ansible playbook production. So this playbook is using a server environment variable, and the value is production. And inside the include vars, I'm using maybe I will clean it, otherwise you will get confused. Okay. Hope this is clear now. So inside the variable, include vars module, I am telling, okay, my file is vars slash then the variable information, because it will take, okay, vars slash production slash web server. So based on the environment, it will take the variables automatically. So it will load the appropriate variable and execute it. Let's say you want to execute the same playbook with the development or staging. While executing the playbook, you can override this variable using the extra vars. So use that feature. So you don't need to change anything. You use the same playbook, same items, but you just override the variable. So you just pass the information: server environment equal to production, development, or staging. So Ansible will automatically include the variable accordingly. Good, right? So remember this option and try to split your variable will be safe, because you don't want to do any mistake in the production or staging, because dev is safe. You can do anything. I think there are some questions. Let's see before we proceed. Serial option. Do you keep source code in GitHub? Yes, we keep source code in Git. It can be GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket, or your local Git server, or it can be any symbol, Googs or Gitty, or any symbol server. It's good to say that. Yes, we will. Yeah, this video will be recorded, and yeah, it will be available in the same URL, same YouTube link. You can refer anytime. Thank you. Okay, now we will discuss or learn something about optimizing the playbook execution. I can see if you already replied, Hemant. Oh, thank you for that one. Yes, we have few options in Ansible for this playbook execution. I mean, optimizing the playbook execution. So you can use parallelism. Then you have few options like strategy, fork, serial, order. Okay. What is strategy? So strategy, you can see this is default is free. You have few other options as well. I will do one thing. I will give the links for all these items. Or you can just Google and find it, but I will give this in the video description later. Then forks is something like the number of connection Ansible will make when executing the playbook. Let's say you have by default the forks value is 5. So if you have a 5 host, it's fine. It will just need 5 connection. It's fine. But let's say you have a 10 host and you are executing this playbook, Ansible by default, if you don't change the forks value, will be executed the first 5. I mean the first SSH connection, first 5 SSH connection. Then it will wait for that to complete. Then it will do the next 5 like that. So if your machine is something good, you can increase the forks value. Here you can put the forks value either in the ansible.cfg file, or you can put in the playbook like forks. Then you put 20. Also, you can pass this forks value while executing the playbook by using the -f option. Remember, the forks means is the SSH connection, right? So if you just think in that way. So when you do this, and when you create SSH connection to hundreds of nodes together, of course it will take a lot of resource. Every SSH connection will take some resource. So consider that before you adjust the forks value. So if your machine is something like, let's say, 8 GB machine, then of course you can do something, some 100 forks is fine. But you just calculate. Let's calculate in the way that, okay, each SSH connection will take some 100 MB of memory. Yeah, something like that. You just calculate the value based on that one. So that's the first thing. So you can optimize this based on your forks value. Let's say you have your Ansible machine is very good. Don't keep the forks value for 5 and wait for the playbooks to complete. No, you can increase it. Another option is a serial, by which you can control the number of hosts to be executed in parallel. Let's say, okay, one good example is, okay, you have some 10 web servers, okay, and you have a load balancer in the background. You don't want to do the patching for all 10 servers together, because all 10 servers together means there will be a downtime. So what is a normal practice? You take down 1 or 2 web servers or some 20% of the total count, do the patching, then you take the next batch like that. So in serial, you can use that for that. So here there are 2 options. You can see serial 2 means at a time 2 hosts only. You can give serial like this only, like this also, like serial you put, okay, in the first batch take only 1 host and execute it. Good. Or Ansible will take the second batch as 10%. Let's say you have 10 servers, 1 will be executed first, then you have 9, so the next one will be executed like that. Then you have 100% means remaining will be executed together. So this is the one you were talking about, the parallel execution. So you can control this using the option called serial. Another important option is this order. Order is the option to control your execution based on your inventory. So by default is, you can see order, you can put like order or shuffle or reverse or something like that. Let's say you have a web 1, web 2, web 3, web 4. You want to execute this in a specific order. You can put this order option like sorted or shuffle, like that. And throttle is the important one for handling high CPU intensive tasks. Let's say one of your Ansible playbook is doing some reporting job or some specific CPU intensive task, and it's taking all of your CPU resource. Then you make sure you put the throttle there. So here you put the total one, means one CPU, like that. So read about the read the documentation to learn about this. And I found some of the playbooks, like maybe you are doing some report generation for some thousands of servers and it's taking a lot of CPU. Try to use the throttle so your Ansible control machine or engine will not hang. And that's for the playbook execution. Then we have for the best practices session, we have a debugging and troubleshooting options. Try to use these options as much as possible, because instead of you execute the playbook directly, try to do all these things. Okay, one of the example is syntax checking, because again, if you are using the text editors like Vim or something, there might be chances like you make a lot of mistakes, wrong indentation, typo, or something like that. Always try to do the syntax check before you execute, so it will save a lot of time. Instead of you execute and in the middle, maybe after 10 minutes of the task, you found error, then you have to check the playbook. No, do the syntax check first before you execute it. Then for the debug, try to use the verbose level like hyphen VVV option, and you can put single V or multiple V based on, as per your need. Let's say you have some issue, something not working at some stages, try to do it by using the hyphen step option. This is very good. And also you found, okay, my first 5 tasks are working good, but I have issue with tasks from 6 onwards. So try to use the started task option. Then you have 2 options, kind of a dry run options called hyphen check and hyphen diff. So use this option so you will know, okay, without actually executing the playbook, it will do the execution, but it will not make any changes. Instead, it will show you what will happen if you execute this task. Good. And try to use the simple ad hoc commands. Let's say you want to quickly remove some package from one machine. Just use ad hoc commands like Ansible playbook minus module remove, all those things. Try to use it, when you are in emergency. And feel free to use the debug module as much as possible, because for every output you're collecting some information, registering with a variable, you don't know what is inside. So try to use the debug module, show the values, or try to use the debug module and show the value inside a variable to see whether you are getting the correct result or not. Later you can remove this task, and no need to keep it there unless you have some, like customer is asking, okay, I need to show what is the content of this variable before it proceed. Otherwise, you can remove this debug task, but try to use it while you develop. It will be very useful. I think we are almost done, but we have a few more slides. One is bundle dependencies. Always try to include your custom modules inside your library folder, or if you are using some custom library names, use that inside. Configure that inside your Ansible.cfg. Then whatever the dependency, whatever the roles you have, you are using inside the playbook, try to include that in a roles directory. And also for the Ansible playbook collections or Ansible collections, create a directory and keep it inside. So instead of you install this role, okay, I found some people just install the roles inside the common directory in Ansible, like etc Ansible roles, that directory. That is not recommended, because when you move this project to another machine, you will not be able to use the roles, because the roles are installed on a directory inside another machine. So try to install the roles, whatever the dependencies inside the project roles directory or my roles or collections, like that. So always bundle. So when you want to share this collection or share this playbook with another one or other team, you can just copy entire project or Git repository, so they will be able to use it without any issue. They will not get any error like, okay, this is missing, this role is missing, this custom module is missing. No, it will be good. So always bundle the dependencies. Then when you talk about the content collection and Ansible roles, always try to get it from the trusted source. You know, the Ansible Galaxy is free. You can go and download. Even I can upload my own roles. You can upload your roles, but do not blindly use these open or free contents from the environment. It's like any other software package. Try to open, scan it, test it in your development or kind of environment. Make sure you are getting the proper result. For example, I want to install the GitLab server. So I can just go and fetch gearling.git role and use it. But before you use it, go inside, see what is inside, what are the tasks it's doing, and make sure it's safe for your environment before you do. And if you are using the collection or content from a vendor, make sure you are getting the support. Maybe you use it 1 year, they stop this development, then you will be in trouble if you have some changes in your environment. And yeah, so remember that things. So find well-known and trusted sources for your roles content collection. Then this is something like a best practices, because I found they told, okay, we are using Ansible, so we cannot use this service now anymore. We cannot use a Jira flow anymore because everything via Ansible. No, actually, you can still follow the standard implementation, like approvals, implement approval stages using the existing tools. So you can call the ServiceNow back, or ServiceNow can call Ansible, do the job, then the Ansible will go back to the ServiceNow with the updated status. So you can use that flow. Still, you can use the flow. There is no changes. You can still use the organization approval flows. Okay. So everything, whatever the approvals review will be happen in the ServiceNow or Jira or whatever the tools you are using, Remedy, whatever it is, and the job will be executed only after the approval, like that. Still, you can use it. And always test your updated playbook for configurations in your dev or staging environment. Don't be in trouble by directly testing in the production environment. I think we are done. There's the last slide, and hope I covered some items, not all. So if you have any questions, I think there are a few questions. Thank you so much. I think those who share already replied. Thank you, Rajit, Hemant, everyone. Thank you for answering those questions. One very basic question, is Python mandatory for Ansible? If not, what if my target machine have no Python? Okay, yes, for the Linux host and for this Unix-based, Python is mandatory. And let's say if you have a situation like Python is not available, you won't be able to use those modules which is depending on Python package. You have network device or firewall device, we cannot have Python inside the machine, like network switch or those things. So what you can use we can use the raw modules where not only raw modules, other modules also. What will happen? Whatever the Ansible Python scripts will be executed in the Ansible engine, and the actions will be happen on the target machine. So the Python script will be executed locally. You can use that. Still, you can use it, but not all module will be usable. Then Ansible can be used. Ansible. Okay, let me clear it. You cannot install Ansible on Windows natively. So either you have to use WSL, Windows Subscription for Linux, or you have to put it inside a VirtualBox or something like that, VMware workstation. There is no option for installing Ansible in Windows, but you can use Ansible for managing Windows, for automating the Windows operations like installing packages, joining AD. Most of the Windows operations can be managed from Ansible, but Ansible should be on a Linux platform. If it can be used in Windows, what software has to be installed on Gembox and target machine? Nothing. Again, for Ansible, you don't need to install any agent. For Linux machine, you just need to enable the SSH. Like as long as you have SSH access to the machine, or for Windows, you have to use WinRM, where you have to enable the WinRM and a WinRM listener, so that Ansible will be able to talk to the WinRM and do the task using PowerShell based communication. If it can be Windows, nothing to be installed. Yeah, nothing need to install. You just need to do some configuration and enable the thing. Yes, for Windows, you have to install the default thing like .NET. You should have a PowerShell version 3.0 and above, .NET 4.0 above. Yeah, that kind of thing needed. It's as default. How to specific pattern specific files from different VM to master nodes. How to copy pattern specific files from, okay, you mean the file. Okay, for copying from VM to master node, you mean master means Ansible node, I assume. Yes, from remote node to local, you can use some module called fetching. Copy is for from Ansible node to remote node. If you check, actually we had a session last week for Linux file management, and if you check you can refer this repository anytime. This is the first thing. So here we are, I'm not sure it's readable. Hopefully it's readable now. We are fetching the content var logs secure content from the remote host, and we put it everything in our Ansible local machine under secure logs file. So this is fetching some files or patterns. You put pattern here, but it's not a direct way. You have to use some pattern thing. Yeah. WinRM for Windows. Yes, WinRM. Yes. What is the difference between library and filter plugins? Okay, library is for the custom modules or custom plugins. There are different kind of plugins in Ansible. Some are modules, some are lookup plugins, some are filter plugins. If you check here, I think better I show this Ansible. We have a connection plugins, like by default there are connection plugins like SSH, WinRM. Then you have Paramico SSH. It's a Python implementation of the SSH, like Kubernetes, Docker. All these are connection methods where you use appropriate connection methods to connect to the remote host. For example, if you want to connect to the container, you cannot use SSH. Instead, you use the Docker connection plugin. Let's say you have a new device, new network switch, and you should use a proper connection plugin to connect to the switch. Please share the link. Of course, I will share. I think I already shared, but let me share it again. Feel free to refer this repository. You have all the samples here. Okay. Okay. Again, we are talking about the filters. If you check, we have so many filters here. So you can have more and more filter plugins. You can add it into your let's say you create some custom Python based filter plugins. You can use that inside your filter plugin and use it for your playbook. Maybe it's custom. Whatever the default items, you don't need to create a filter plugin directory. It will be there in the Ansible core files. It will be there. So you can, I don't have the Ansible machine. Let me check. Let me check if I have the machine here. Okay, I think I don't have the machine turn on. I can put it inside you can in the chat. So you have to use like Ansible minus doc, Ansible doc, then minus L, then you put minus T, then connection. So the T means the type of plugin you want to list. By default, it will show the modules. So if you put Ansible -doc, then minus L, minus T, then you put something like a filter, it will show you what are the filter plugins available. Okay. Also, I will share the slides, and you can also refer the repository details from GitHub. The video description. Also, we have this Ansible real life series videos in our YouTube channel. Please refer that, and also scan this QR code, submit your feedback, and you can also submit topics for the next session. If you think, okay, something you want to know or something we can learn it together, yeah, please submit the topic, and we will post the new event information in LinkedIn, yeah, Facebook, all those areas, and you can follow if you think it's good. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel if you think the videos are good, it's helpful. Yeah, we just learn together. And yeah, thank you. Yeah, and thank you for joining again, and thank you for the active chats, questions. I guess you learned something, that's why you have questions here. If I miss any of the questions or any unattended questions, you can ask again, or yeah, I will stay for a few more minutes, or you can ask in the video description or video comment box later. It will be opened later. Okay, I think we are good, and we cover. So the slides will be shared as PDF later. You can refer that. Whatever I have explained here, the documents, links, I will put inside the video description. You can refer anytime. Okay, so feedback, don't forget to feedback. Then thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your comments, feedback. Thank you. Please make video on dictionary and list concept. Okay, this is good. Sure, we will. I already know down. Dictionary and feedback. Yeah, we can. Maybe you can message me here in techbeatly or somewhere, or LinkedIn, what kind of information you really needed. We can make the session accordingly. Of course, it will be good. Could you please take a session on Terraform? Okay, sure. Terraform is like, we cannot take a session. Maybe we can give some introduction to Terraform. We have a session planned for next week or somewhere with the Terraform plus Ansible. I'm still checking my time because this all doing after work. So we have a session on Terraform plus Ansible very soon, like how to use Ansible inside Terraform, how to make it a good combination rather than comparing others. I will try to arrange a session, because Terraform, it's not a 1 hour session. We cannot do in a 1 hour session. We will try how to do that. Actually, maybe we can try some Terraform BootCamp. Let's see how many can join. Thank you for joining, and hope we learned something today. Always ask in the video description, or you can contact on LinkedIn or Telegram. You can contact me on Telegram also, and make sure we learn something. Okay, thank you. I think take care, stay safe, learn something in your free time, and hope we will see very soon, and then for the next video, next session. Thank you all for joining, and thank you all for answering the question, helping each other, and see you next time for another session. Maybe Terraform the 30 days. Okay, Terraform not need. Okay, we try. Yeah, we will try. I'm not promising no commitment. We'll try to do that. Because Terraform, we can just focus on one cloud, maybe some AWS or GCP, and do it. Yeah, we'll try. Good suggestion. Thank you. See you all next time, and take care. Bye-bye. I will end the session. Yeah, take care. Stay safe.